Every time you look at the vast world that is anime, you may often think that you take a liking to it because of the visual appeal, the extensive world building that feels like there's endless amounts of things to learn about it, or simply as a medium of entertainment, designed as background noise to kill time, like it's the weeb's grand alternative to YouTube or, God forbid, TikTok. Yet, there's something about one particular show I watched towards the beginning of this journey that, for whatever reason, permanently locked me out of that way of thinking. Ever since watching Golden Time, I knew I'd never be able to look at anime as simply background noise or an expansive world or even something that's just really cool to look at. In fact, it became so much more than that. It became an escape from reality, a chance to experience something I wouldn't ordinarily be able to otherwise, a figurative second chance to see what things could be like. And that fact alone is probably how I was able to fall in love with the medium in the first place. There's something about this story that always finds its way to me whenever I need it the most. Something that's always able to remind me that somehow, some way, no matter what kind of screwed up things life tends to throw out, everything will work out as it was intended. No matter what happens or what failures we experience, everything will get the return it deserves. We'll be able to follow the path we choose, take the strides we may at one point not been brave enough to take, and find that one important thing in life that will keep us going in the long run. To some, it's a career. To most, it's happiness. To a lot of us, on the other hand, it's a hilariously awkward significant other that makes you question a lot of life decisions. Golden Time is a slice-of-life romance story told through the perspective of Tada Banri, an ordinary college freshman who, after falling off a bridge following his high school graduation and being hospitalized, suffers from a severe case of retrograde amnesia and is unable to recall any of his memories prior to graduating. Abandoning his hometown as a way to escape most of his connections to his past, he moves to Tokyo to attend law school at Fukuoka University. Through some pretty unique circumstances individually, he ends up meeting a few new people he comes to know as friends, including the big old bag of worries known as Yanagisawa Mitsuo, the self-proclaimed two-dimensional Sato Takaya, or 2D-kun, the cheerful, social, and cute Oka Chinami, and finally, the most important two of this collection of people, the reliable senpai of the festival club, Linda, and the overly obsessive rich girl we all know and love, Kaga Koko, who attended Fukuoka University purely for the sake of following Mitsuo. Now I get it, that's a lot of names to remember and are pretty much all the important characters in the series, but they all play such a big part in their own individual rights that it would be unfair to not bring attention to just the major characters. Anyway, through meeting all these new people along with struggling with his own identity issues and decisions on who he wants to be, Banri soon finds himself on an unexpected journey of what it means to live, alongside a particular girl who is struggling with her own insecurities in an effort to discover what it means to truly love someone. If only it were that easy. Now, quite honestly, nothing I say or do can possibly convey how much I absolutely love this series, start to finish. That may or may not have something to do with the fact that Coco is one of the two actual anime crushes I've had, but regardless, there's just something about the feel of this show that really ropes you in. On one hand, you've got a pretty relatable protagonist going through some pretty relatable life soup stuff, to which at least someone has gone, I'm 14 and this is deep too. For whatever fucking reason. But it also takes that fresh perspective of being focused in life after high school, where you have a lot more responsibilities and may not have as much time to meet new people or develop connections with the same accessibility that high school life offers. Something that most people don't really have the chance to think about until they're thrown into the thick of it. Not to mention it's one of those main couple is so unlikely that this would never actually happen shows. Or so you'd think. The thing that I like about Coco is how she's portrayed as someone who's alone, due to being seemingly out of reach. Coming from a rich family and constantly looking beautiful is nice, sure, but in her case it's almost the opposite, seeing as how her beautiful look and portrayal as a rich girl actually ends up alienating her just as much as, say, someone who's an absolute nobody. Which also makes it rather easy for someone like Banri, who has interacted with Coco a few times before due to being friends with Mitsuo, to interact with her. This little back and forth of Banri wanting to be there for Coco and Coco being single-minded towards Mitsuo, despite for the first time having a good friend who actually looks out for her, ends up turning into a friendship turn relationship pretty early on, and honestly, it's sad yet entertaining and surprisingly relatable to watch. Keep in mind, that entire roller coaster of yes-no is all packed into one singular episode, and in that singular episode you can't help but go through varying levels of sympathy for them, possibly even growing attached yourself. Yet, it almost seems like it does more than just make you grow attached. It's the beginning of something. And to explain what exactly I mean, I need to talk about Linda for a second. You know, the other majorly important character. See, Linda is actually the childhood friend of Banri from before he lost his memories, and who he had deep-seated feelings for back then. Being athletic, reliable, yet also fragile in her own way, it's easy to want to be there for someone like that. But her character's presence represents so much more than just a childhood friend and past love interest. She represents that failed first chance to find the one important thing in life I mentioned earlier. More specifically, Linda is what I like to consider the viewer crush, the unrequited love scenario in which no matter how strong you feel, or no matter what you do to get close to her, she'll more than likely always be out of reach. And on the opposite side of that coin is the what if scenario. The amnesia, the meeting new people, the shot at a fresh start. The one that we'll never get. As for the other side of that coin, well, Coco is the beginning of it all. The beginning shape of our hopes and dreams. The beginning of what we wish for, what we really want in our journey of figuring out how to get through the shitstorm that is life. She's an example of why getting through it all is worth every step of the way. No matter how hard it gets, no matter what happens, we'll always have a shining beacon as an example of the rose-colored life we search for in this bleak, gray world. A shining beacon of the second chance we all wanted.